the status of the soil. First of all, availability of that rhizobia in the soil initially to help this legume in the starting way to really produce the nodules such that it is able to fix. However, literature has shown that legumes can fix a lot of nitrogen. If you have higher level legumes like lucina and so on, those can even go higher to a level literature is indicating that it can fix up to a tune of more than 500 kgs of N in the soil. So legumes can help in the N, but of course other studies need to be done such that if the legume fixes N, what about the other nutrients that the crop will require? How do we balance? That's why we are also looking at continuing doing like biochar fortification and fortification, even just of cow dung, if it is whatever. It may not be rich in all the nutrients, but if we fortify it and process it well, then we are able to help farmers to access the product. Because these products are not just going to be, they can be packaged and farmers can access them as well. So those are areas where commercialization can come in. We work with our partners that produce organic. And then we also do livestock. We pray that
where you have raised various key issues on nutrient and soil management. I'm sure there are people with maybe comments on the presentation. Can start with the lady.
I want first of all to thank Group 1 for the ideas presented. Once again, I'm Dugo Amina, but I have noted something on what worked well. Much as maybe many farmers could be doing some of the ideas on what worked well, but we need also to consider that some of the practices are not good. For example, where there was burning of straws, much as it is under what worked well, but it is not good. And there it calls for our interventions to ensure that we give the necessary information, we do the demonstration on how best they can utilize that straw instead of burning. And also when you also look at continuous rice production, yes, mostly that is still happening without rotation or integration. But in the long run, like we have had, it may have adverse effects on the environment. So here we need to consider such and come up with appropriate measures so that we have a sustainable production for rice. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. You said the name is? Amina. Yeah, for those very pertinent issues. On it can work well for the farmer, but it's not good. It's not good practice. Monocropping, they may think there is a lot of profits coming in, but it's not benefiting the environment and the soil. So,
thank you, presenter. Maybe you just take us back to what didn't work. What did not work? When you look at those issues raised there, it kind of disturbs the mind. Because these would be areas of achievement. Now, if today, 1.5 years down the road, isn't it? We are counting 6 months left to the end of this pilot project. We are still saying there was no soil sampling and testing, no technical advice and recommendation by extension workers, well aware that this project had extension workers. What were they doing in the field? Where did they hide? There was no use of organic fertilizers, but crop rotation. This project has a component of legume integration. And today we are reporting that legume intercropping was not realized. I question myself, what has happened over the 1.5 years of the project? Looking back at the overview of the project presented by Anthony, I don't know, maybe I expected to see the levels of adoption of some of these technologies, because these could be the indicators. I don't know whether, Anthony, you heard it. Is this a contradiction to what you people are telling us?
You can explain.
Coming up at such a point, especially on the key areas or indicator areas that we would use to assess the progress of the project, then we begin worrying that maybe we are achieving very little. That is just my observation. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's a very valid question. Is it that there was no soil sampling and testing, no technical advice, or do we mean it was not adequate? And probably what were the reasons?
I have a colleague
So
there.
it's a matter of communication.
My colleague is giving an input.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's have the other questions so that they are all answered at once. So, where?
Thank you. I think I also forgot to introduce myself when I was giving comments. My name is Noah Andrew Chebet. I'm the Principal Agriculture Officer, Queen District. Yeah, I have two quick questions. One, there is very good progress going on in this project, and it's really exciting, to be honest. But I just wanted to remind us once again that the project is temporary. It is a catalyst, meaning whatever comes from the project, we are supposed to institutionalize it. One of the presenters says, good practice should immediately become government normal way of doing things. That is the agility we need. So, the first issue is, there are some externalities I have seen, either positive or negative, but they are negative ones. I saw issues of, when you look at the standard, labor rights is one of the themes in the RSP. And I saw some things of child labor with my friend Bongomin in the picture. So for me, that's an issue. Child labor. Okay. So the point I'm making is, maybe in your project frame, the risk management plan, we really need to look at that so that at the end of the day, the externalities, the negative ones, should not outweigh the bigger picture we want to achieve in the industry. Yeah. Secondly, and you may excuse me for this, my expectation is to look at a business case that is viable from the byproducts. I don't know whether this was already presented. A business case that can now be taken to scale. Because if you look at the situation analysis, like take an area like Ukraine, demand for energy. We are using firewood, charcoal, trees are disappearing. But we are now looking at how do we adapt these models where they can make the briquettes as alternative source of energy. And it can be a business opportunity for the youth, for the women. Likewise, to biochar, can it be commercialized? So, for me, that is the thing we need to answer. And then we have to link what we do, because the project talks of empirical evidence. Can we say from the research, we can increase the biomass of rice by this? And from this amount of biomass, can generate this amount of biochar, so that we link the evidence to the business. Thank you. Because we are talking at sustainability and scalability. Those are the key issues. Thank you.
Thank you for raising that. So the issue is whether the project did what it was supposed to do, because this is a pilot. So we cannot put all the burdens of the farmers who are burning and say the project did not. So maybe we listen to a project person.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon once again. Actually, the concerns raised by the members here are true, and I can say 90% true, but depending on how you interpret this. For the pilot activities, just like the first presentation was done in the morning, work has been done. But we sat in a group with farmers, and if some of you here are farmers, maybe by show of hands, how many of you do soil tests in your own farms? Because I want to take you back to where we got this information. How many rice farmers here individually do soil tests every season in your farms? So these activities have been piloted, but with the farmers, or at the farmer level, it is not yet being practiced. And that's how we brought this up. Even where we are trying with biofertilizer demonstrations, there are so many fields out there with very good results. Some of our own players here, despite the flag of talking of sustainable production, conservation of environment, which starts from production of the chemical fertilizers, we still say let's bury urea down, calling it another technology. So there are two areas of interpretation: the actual practice and the trials. So in practice, what we showed you there is not being put in place, but we are at the level of mind change, trying to preach this to the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses.
Thank you for that. Maybe let's listen from Anthony before you talk.
Thank you very much. I think I achieved what I wanted to achieve with when I said we needed this slide to come back on the screen as we discuss. But I think the partners involved are responding, and I hope also our friend from Buginyanya, Zardi, will talk about it. But there is something I wanted us to expurge or to remove from the handstand or from the recording of this event, that actually no partner is practicing child labor, because the issue was raised in jest. And actually, it was clarified that the gentleman in that slide is actually 28 years old. Okay, so 22. Sorry, the young man is 22 years old, and therefore over 18 years. Okay, so let it go on record. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, maybe you can say the last word before.
Yeah, I wanted to add to my colleagues what he explained about issues that are coming up. And when the question says what did not work, I really believe that if we are maybe reporting, it doesn't mean that if it did not work, maybe such an activity cannot be promoted. That's why I believe there are some reasons why that activity did not work. How can we support such that it can work in the next engagement? So that is what I wanted to add on.
Okay.
So thank you.
Can we clap for the group? So let's have the next group.
Yeah, Michael, I think before the next group, Desiree, are you there? Can we all stand? Mzee, amka. Yes, let's all stand. Let's all stand. I know, the meal is taking toll on us. No, it's normal. Eh? So, but we have to resist. So, okay, Desiree.
Thank you very much. So, I am a choir master, and we have 3 voices. This line, the middle one, and this the 3rd voice. So we have to see the winner. So pay attention. Any part of my body can design you to sing. So if I design this group, you say boom. Boom. If I say boom. Fine. Now this one we are going to say rititi up. Rititi. I'm not hearing you. Okay, once. Hey, boom, where are you? So now the 3rd group, you are going to say ratata. 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 Rititi. Boom. Down, eh? Boom. Can you all see me? 1, 2, 3. If I have not designed you, you are not talking. So now, the winner, the losers would be, if I appoint you and they don't talk, you are going out. Are you ready?
Group 3 now.
Thank you very much, fellow participants. Once again, my name is Rainbow Patrick. Not for the film, it has a meaning from the region where I come from. So don't think this is just a joke, that name has a meaning. So I am in front of you to represent Group 3, where I was a member, we actively participated. But what I've been seeing in the presentations, every group understood this question differently, and they argued amongst themselves for the noble cause. And I believe we are presenting the right thing. Controller, can we straight go away to our points? So that was our point on water usage and management. My group where I participated argued out that this is the engine of rice production. So we thoroughly went through how it was. So we looked at what has worked well, But then also we had the reason adjacent. Why did it work well? Well. So I will not spend time much because we have well illustrated there, and I believe everyone who is here is able to read. Because we had nine groups. I was following 9 groups, and I think they're about only 4. So number 1, what worked well? Well-prepared fields. Of course, we argued out that when we prepared the fields well, it reserved more what? Moisture for a longer time. And of course, leveling, all those self-explanatory. The reason, construction of bunds, so it retained water for a longer period of time than the surrounding farmers who are in plain fields. But here we are having a comparative arguments from different areas of the project, because we have 3 locations, Tororo, Kwen, Buteleja, but other places were scientifically organized or mechanized fields like Buteleja. Other locations were relying on natural rainfall and water. So this is where certain things did not work well. So we looked at synchronization of efficient utilization of water as per the crop stages and need. That one worked well in certain parts of Buteleja, but it did not work well in Tororo, because some technologies in Tororo, the farmers are just manually making construction of bunds, and some parts of when the heavy flood comes, it overpowers the manually made what? So the floods are not really controlled because it's rain-fed. It's not compared to other places where the channels are already what? Maintained and made in a very good designed way. So why proper utilization of water as per the crop requirement? Controller, can we move? Yes, we also saw what went well. Farmers' knowledge on efficient water utilization. Then when farmers' knowledge on the good agronomic practices, e.g. spacing, weeds well managed. Of course, we agreed, we argued out that when you manage water very well, the weeds are suppressed at that stage. And of course, when you are leveling, that is all the process of water management, leveling leveling the fields, you find that when the water floods, it covers the weeds and the weeds do not what? So the water covers evenly throughout the fields. So that's next. Then we also looked at conflicts of water. Conflicts of water, when you use manage water well, it is evenly distributed, but of course, according to the seasonal calendar, if some group of farmers planted in a particular period of time, maybe 2 weeks time, another one 2 weeks, so when they are using the seasonal calendar, it is evenly distributed, and therefore conflicts are really what reduced. You know, when everyone plants upstream, another one the other side, so they struggle and they not manage what? Water, and then the conflicts come. Then we also said it controls pests and diseases, like the common pest of the water snails. Of course, proper water management reduces such incidences. Using water snails is a very notorious pest at the early stage of transplanting rice. It can clear the whole acreage within 3 days. So what worked well when the water was managed well, such incidences reduced. Then what has not worked? We insisted on the cropping calendar. This has not worked in several places. And the reason, why it didn't work, farmers are not fully aware. It is a new technology that we are just, through the project, we are trying to instill to the farmers. Next. Then also rudimentary tools like use of hand hose, as I was explaining to you, it really didn't work well in lowland areas where there are no irrigation schemes. The farmers struggle season after season, like as the farmer constructed the barns, when the flood came later on, swept everything. So that means the farmer has to put the cost of construction of barns season after season, so not compared to irrigated fields. So it didn't work in some places. Then the water user committees in some places, they are not there, compared to which could be a recommended practice in other organized places. So it did not work in some places for them efficiently. Next. Then failure of farmers to undertake water management. Like, for example, in Tororo, when yields were lower than that of Buteleja district. Reason is mostly rain-fed areas, and there was a drought in that season when we started the project. Then we have talked about the available opportunities with that we mobilize, sensitize farmers on good water management, mobilize the farmers or the surrounding farmers such that would be upscaling these. Those are the available opportunities. Of course, the rice farmers are there. They are farming in their own way. So the opportunities to mobilize, talk to them, and we proceed with this. Do you have anything else, my controller? Please, can we move, controller? Formation of farmer groups. I think there was a formation of farmers into groups, then train them, formation of different categories of group, farmer groups, water user committees, and train them on water management. Then existence of the partners to improve on existing water management structure. So there are some partners which are already existent. Those are the available opportunities that we could use. Promote use of mechanization to enhance efficient water utilization and management. For case studies, we would use simple machines and do a bit of mechanization to demonstrate in some rice belt areas. And we see the case study, business case, working. Then promote use of concrete water reservoirs. Like we made some argument here that it will be very, very costly, but we had an expert in our group. We'll make some justification tomorrow because there is even time for this very what. But then, for me, I was arguing that this is really very costly, and the project is targeting on smallholder farmers. Why do you talk of concrete? How will the farmer work? Because now this farmer is the handle, but I'm not challenging because I'm presenting. I also eventually agreed with them. Because they scientifically explained, then we concurred. So I also okay it. Next. Yeah, finally improving the soil health status, structure, and lastly I would say thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for the clear and concise presentation. I think you understood the question very well, and you provided the answers. So that's a tick for you. And we can see very clearly what worked well as far as the SRP practices are concerned, we can see also the lesson, and some of the lessons being provided are, there were good extension services, there was training. And this is what Kilimo Trust was doing. It was building issues of governance, the water users not working as they should. Again, that's still part of capacity building that we should look at as we move ahead. Any comments for this group? You are a group member. Let him add because he's a group member.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I just wanted to add this point. We realize there are 3 key areas, if we are to summarize them. Issues of infrastructure, issues of farmer institutions, and then the other one, there is enabling environment. What we mean here is, for instance, there are no norms or ground rules. And where they are not adequately being enforced. For instance, issues of water rationing, scheduling the water. We realize it is a gap. That's why you see critically where the project have concentrated and their farmers have picked up.
Please, can any member note that we shall just add on?
Yeah, where you see farmers have picked up and they have their own rules. Because the key element here is these farmer structures should be an entity and they are self-regulating. They have their own rules, they have their own norms on how they could manage the water, including managing, because if you look at Iowa, they have to manage money, income, they have overheads. So we realize, unlike Queen, where there are still gaps, if I am to characterize, I can say they are still in norming stage where they are trying to understand their roles. So we realize this is a key driver in water management, a functional farmer structure. Yes, thank you. I think that's what I wanted to add. Thanks.
That was my member complimenting. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that.
I want to say something. Rebo, thank you very much for waking up people from after lunch problem. We know that water is actually the most important thing as far as rice production is concerned. And it is known fact that in every kilogram of rice being eaten, directly minus losses has entered in to produce that 1 kilogram of rice. 1,460 liters, you can research. There are so many research papers as far as water efficiency is concerned. 1,460 liters of water enters to produce 1 kilogram of rice. So we have a lot of problem with, a lot of opportunity with our research. Now, I want to throw this back to the researchers. Under alternate wet and dry, and under continuous flooding, how much is lost before the 1,460 kilograms is absorbed? That is a research topic for you. Yeah, because we need it. This is a requirement, is an indicator as far as sustainable rice production is concerned. So is to labor, because every man days or person's day, to be gender sensitive, must account for a certain kilogram of rice produced. So how many man days are required to produce 1 kilogram of rice? That is another research area, so we need to do it. Now, I want to say this. We synchronize rice planting, but we don't synchronize. Once you have synchronized rice planting, you have already synchronized efficiency utilization of water. There in your presentation, you said you synchronize efficiency utilization, but you synchronize rice planting. Synchronizing means in one irrigation service area, people are given dates within a period, a window, within a period. If you have not planted, you're out of that irrigation service area. So that when water is irrigation service area means one channel bringing the water is distributing to all the people within that block. If you have not planted, let's say if today is what? 17th. They give normally 1 month within that window. Everybody must plant. If you have not planted, you are out of that service, irrigation service area. This is another policy issue as far as water utilization is concerned. Lastly, what I wanted to say is that it is important to note that leveling is as far as important as talking about water utilization, as far as water utilization is concerned. Now, we have challenges where most of the irrigation schemes that have been built by government and the like are not properly labeled. And therefore, we have a challenge and opportunity for us to go ahead and source for those resources to level those fields. Especially, I want to say Ngenge. Ngenge is not properly labeled. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think that's what Zumrak, I have seen there is no other response. I think everyone was well with my presentation.
There is one more here.
Oh, there is one person. Okay.
You know, Rainbow is my OB. So it normally gets scared when it sees me raising my hands. But I'm not going to attack you. For me, I normally try to reason from a future perspective. But of course, history informs the future. Oh, when I saw Rainbow presenting, I already see a fear in the implementer of the project. When he said he was, they were arguing within their group about that issue of mechanization. To him, it was something that cannot work. That is to Rainbow. Yet to others, they were like, maybe it can work. Maybe it works. I don't know the level of farmers we are talking about here. What is the definition of smallholder farmers in this project? Less than 5 acres or 2 hectares? Yes?
Improve the infrastructure within the scheme for the smallholder farmers. It doesn't mean that you have one owere somewhere and you make for him concrete channels. No. You will find 1,000 oweres in one place where you have put a scheme. That's why we are making this recommendation. Look at Doho, for instance. Look at the main lines. Some things, thank you so much, Rembo. Some things Rembo here didn't say. Because one of the reasons why some of these places dry is that there is no lining of the reservoirs. So the water percolates and goes down. So when you get some small drought, the water disappears. And if you want to prove we shall not run away from the lining of those reservoirs, it may not be concrete. You can start with clay, but the best is concrete. Even cleaning those channels, if it is just soil, there is no work done. So don't look at the smallholder from the perspective of one person. Doho scheme, those are smallholders. And that's where we are giving you what worked. But Tororo and the Queen, that's where we are giving you things which didn't work. Because Tororo is rain-fed rice.
Yes.
You look at Ngenge and the Butaleja, those are irrigated. So it gives us very, very good comparisons between, first of all, the two irrigated, then irrigated and the rain-fed. So I think we are together.
Yeah, you've actually explained what I wanted to point out. Because here maybe we're talking about maybe we could try to categorize these farmers into 2 levels or 2 categories. There are farmers who are in irrigated schemes, like he has stated. There are those who are not under the scheme, projects, like Tororo, for example. They are, under rain-fed agriculture. So when we are evaluating the project, this should be put into consideration, because the impacts going to be realized in the irrigation schemes might not be the same with what is under rain-fed. But in agreement with that, I want to state that I don't know whether it is by design or by, I really don't know. All projects that come to Uganda, I don't want to talk about Kenya and other places, but Uganda is looking at this small scale, the poorest among the poor. The poorest among the poor. My friend, when shall we develop? No, these are realities. Let me give a reference to NADS. When NADS started in 2000, was it 11? No, 2001? The target was the poorest among the poor. You are taking a heifer to a person who cannot afford a kilo of meat even in a month. You get it? They translated it into Operation Wealth Creation. All these projects are coming, targeting the poorest among the poor. People cannot sacrifice to develop. We shall wait for I don't know how long to realize the development. That is just an observation. Because you are talking about all these are very good interventions, good technologies, but it must come with a sacrifice. It goes with the costs. You cannot talk about, is it bioshare, whatever, production. If you cannot afford the burning equipment, you need to get that equipment. You cannot talk about opening water channels if you cannot invest in it. You get? So we need to be talking about farmers who understand what they are doing. Farming as a business. That is where we are failing. We go to farmers who are doing farming because they found their fathers farming. They are doing farming because they don't have alternative ways of survival. They are just there. Because they don't have any business in the morning, they wake up, put the hoe on the neck, walk to the garden. We need to target people who are in farming as a business. That is when you can realize something meaningful. The issue of mechanization will be a walk-up. I thank you.
Thank you for that. I think we are pressed with time. I don't know how we treat, because we still have some 4 or so groups. I think we are going to fast track because we want to listen to each group. We don't want to lose any group. So, yeah, so I don't know. We can bargain on time. Can we give each group 5 minutes? 5. There are many. Yeah. We can give 5 minutes each because we still have. You can put the question.
That does mean I have to put the question to the floor.
As many as.
Those in favor of adding more time say aye. On the contrary, say no. Those in favor, because we are already late, it's already 5 o'clock, we should be closing now, okay? But there's a suggestion, a proposal, that we can extend by maybe some 30 minutes, 25 minutes, 25 minutes. So I pose a question. Those who accept to extend the time, say aye. The ayes take it.
Although you did not ask for those who are not for. They are not there. Okay. So let's have group 2. Oh, group 8 is already there.
Group 8, yes.
Although I wanted group 8 to be the last one so that they can also talk more about it. But let's then continue.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm called Tumwebaze Kamtima, and I'm here to represent the views of Group 8. So our group focused more on the byproducts. Like the last presenter who was asking whether he understood the questions, for us we added something. So we added what has been done. Yes. Yeah, so I don't know why I'm not able to read there clear. We in our group, what has been done? There is something missing, I think. Okay, yeah, that's it. Go back up. Is there any problem? Okay, yeah. So we have 3 byproducts: the rice straws, then we have the rice bran. So we put up a table whereby we are answering all the questions. So I will be going one by one to the end, then I start on another one. So on rice straws, we realize the project has been able to demonstrate how the straws can be turned into fertilizers. What has not worked, we realize through our partners, this thing I'm not seeing there very well, I don't know. Okay, I made a big, I thought the table will bring it out well. Yes, that's good. There. So on rice straws, we have what has been done. We realize this project has been able to demonstrate how straws can be turned into fertilizers, and has also been able to demonstrate how rice straws can be turned into silage stroke animal feeds. What has worked, we realize through our partners, they have been able to demonstrate how straws can easily be decomposed using microorganisms in a short period of time. They have been able to make silage from the straw. So we believe these are some of the good positions where this project has been able to put this. Why has this worked? They have managed to cut down time for decomposing, and this in the end will improve when they introduce earthworms using locally available biological agents to turn the rice products into soil amendment. Also, fortification with microorganisms to speed up the process of fermentation. So we believe these have been the factors why you are seeing all this success. What has not worked, we did not have a lot of views there because we realize we are progressing well. On opportunities, there is declining soil nutrients and animal nutrients, which means once we make fertilizers from these products, we'll be able to attract a lot of people picking interest in the products we shall be making. Innovations and technologies to speed up the process of silage making. We realize there is a lot of fabricated products which can help us in turning these products into fertilizers very fast. Existence of alternative options to make animal feeds using the straws. We realize there are many ways we can use the straws to come up with the final product. Increased pressure on land due to high population. Hence, farmers are now starting to utilize their small spaces for increased productivity, and this, of course, will attract interest in the fertilizers. Yes, let's go to the next product. Can go down. Yes, we have rice husks. This project has been able to demonstrate how the husks can be turned into biochar. But also, this project has been able to demonstrate how to utilize biochar to improve soil structure on horticultural gardens and rice seed beds. What has worked? So what has worked? There is production of biochar. There is also demonstrated that the biochar can improve soil health in horticulture and coffee. These are practical examples. There are coffee farmers that are demanding for these products and horticultural farmers. So why has this worked? We are able to innovate a stove that is able to burn the husks into biochar. So this stove has been a very good catalyst in fast tracking this process to help turn the husks into biochar. Established demonstration gardens using biochar. These gardens have been established and they are showing good results. High demand of biochar from nursery bed operators. So all these are indicators that these products are very important for our community. Yes, we go straight to opportunities. We realized we don't have any views on what has not worked because we are seeing we are progressing well. Yeah, on opportunities, biochar can be used as animal bedding, litter material, and mulching. But also, there is an opportunity to make a diversity of products like fuel products. So we believe we'll be able to tap into this area and earn more from biochar. On rice bran, we realized we have not done much so far, and this has been because there is lack of an experienced partner to support some of the team members. Then on the opportunity, production of insect-based animal feeds, used as animal feeds also. So thank you so much. This has been our contribution, but through your questions, or if our team could add something, but maybe your questions will inform. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. On the rice husks, did you have this opportunity of fertilizer from biochar? Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, it was up. Okay, that's okay then. Any addition? Just one, because of time.
Okay, thank you. On the fortification of biochar, sometime last year we got some sample from Eastern Rice. We checked it with the technical team, and we went ahead to fortify a portion. I think tomorrow we'll be able to see some small sample because we received very small quantity. We subjected that sample to analysis and organic certification process, because for farmers, especially those who need the biochar, if they already get premium prices from maybe their coffee, that thing needs to be confirmed that it's organic. So we completed the certification process by Ceres, Germany. We expect to have the organic certificate by 10th of March. Samples are already in Germany. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I think tomorrow we are going to see practicals in the field of what is happening in this use of these organic products. What? Which one? Biochar can be used as animal bedding. Yeah, because animal bedding, biochar alone may not be the best. Very dusty. Okay. Or is it husks, not biochar? Okay. Because of the smell. Okay. Litter material? Okay. Can you explain litter material?
Actually, for people in, I would say, livestock farming, I'm just complimenting, I was not a member of that group. Yeah, biochar can be mixed with husks to be used as bedding. It can be in piggery units or livestock units. And because biochar is like a media for growth of multiplication of useful microorganisms, it has that property of suppression of smell in the farms. Maybe that's what I can add.
So let's stop it there. We go to the next group. We said 5 minutes per group. So group 4 on high yielding, or group 2, labor efficiency. Because we had talked a bit about this, don't go into details. There was a presentation in the morning, so just touch a bit of it. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Our group is on labor efficiency. What has worked? We identified about 7 attributes. What has worked has been a change in work attitude, good work attitude. Why has it worked? Because the right work attitude leads to high labor efficiency. Another thing which has worked is motivation. You need to motivate the workers beyond just the wage, beyond just, they should not look at just wages as the only factor. You've got to look at beyond that. This one keeps the morale of the workers high. By motivation, for example, if you brought other things like football or other issues which are non-wage, you keep their morale high. And then what has worked is in labor you need to organize it. Without organization, you cannot manage the tasks. If you organize it, the tasks are located properly, and then of course you've got to closely monitor and supervise. What has worked is the level of skills. Without an improved skilled workers, you cannot get a higher output. So we saw that, with the higher skills, it corresponds with a higher output. And then the other thing is improvement of work environment. This one especially touches on safety. You've got to give them boots, hygiene, water, give them some washing potential, sanitation. This one improves on the confidence of the workers and also on their health. The other probably important thing is timely payment. Don't give them stories that, I'll pay on Tuesday. Then when Tuesday says, you see, you got to give them a schedule which they look forward to. That every Friday they take a cavera to their madam, for example. This one keeps the workers more morale. The other thing again, you've got to, of course, improve on the tools, on the working equipment and tools. Here we are talking of, don't just stay with the hoe. If you can bring a mechanized, tool, it really enables the workers to cover more the same task, but in a shorter time. Then, of course, there's the issue of job security. You've got to keep the morale of the workers so that they are assured that they have, they're secure in their jobs. Now, what has not worked and why is the poor work attitude. Many of them need, mindset change for work. Some come when they are, late, still with hangover. This, of course, leads to low productivity. The other one is non-motivation. The workers lose morale. They have got a low morale. And if you don't organize your labor, you cannot be able to supervise the workers. No, that's too far. Where were we? A bit up. Yes, somewhere there. Yeah. Where did I stop? Yes, what has not worked is a poor environment. Or before that, there's a level of skills. You need to skill them so that if you don't, of course you expect low productivity. In terms of environment, the work environment, we're talking of work environment. You've got to make sure that, if they have unsafe working conditions, you've got, the issue of health. Most workers, their health deteriorates. In terms of non-regular payments, this one which has not worked sometimes is the opposite of what has worked. If you don't pay them regularly or at a regular interval, they lose morale, or they go to other places where they are assured of, regular payments. That is same as the one on top. Let's go to the last slide there. What are the opportunities of scaling up? We thought we could undertake capacity building, of continuous capacity building for workers, tailor-made training for the workers. You dedicate them to a special task. Say, today we want to train you on this. You specialize on these tasks. We thought we could introduce better technologies. Talking about rice, for example, in the harvest, instead of using a sickle, let's train them to use rice reapers or rice strippers, or to use other mechanized weeders, for example, motorized weeders, instead of using the hoe. The other aspect is accommodation. If we could provide accommodation nearer to the work site, so that there is no issue of lateness, there is no issue of, the tasks start at the same time. Not that somebody came late, this is too far, so you provide accommodation near to the site. Then also you provide other social activities to keep them, from after work. For example, volleyball. You discuss about Man U and Arsenal, and you bring in those educative videos, for example, to help them to divert attention, but at the same time keep them in a group, so that they keep on interacting. For the mother side, we thought we could provide breastfeeding sheds for those who have small kids, or other caretaker facilities for those who cannot leave the children at home. They come with the child. It might not be breastfeeding, but it's a young child which needs, to be taken care of as the mother is busy working on this side. And then we thought we could bring in some, counseling services to the workers, both male and female. On the female side, why not bring a singer to pop up some of those missing points, or bring somebody with experience to also pop up on some of those missing points. So this is what we thought could be the opportunities, and what has worked and what has not worked. Any questions? Was it 5 minutes?
Thank you.
I think it was less than 5 minutes.
Any?
Oh, any?
Okay. On scaling up, I want to explain bullet number 4, provision of that social games and so on. When, with a practical example, we went to Kamuli on one of the sites where we are, and we took about the first 100 team of 100 people there. And we had the locals there who did not know how to grow rice. So it took for us a lot of days and time to encourage them to join us as a team. Because if you are going to a home and the home people are not joining you, you face a little bit of a problem. So what we did is to create a professional football team within the 100 we had taken from elsewhere. And we gave them uniform, we gave them a coach, and after 5, they would go to the field. So everybody, even including the locals in the villages there, they go and watch them playing football in the field. But this is not Man U, playing the live football in the field. But the uniform were branded. So the locals say, hey, but you people, you play very well. Where do you work? You are even smarter than us. You have uniform, where do you work? Then they say, we work here. We work with Bongomin Group. We work down here. Yeah, what do you do exactly? So they started to explain to them what they do. How much do you earn? They started to explain to them what they earn. Eventually, right now, we have over 70-something people from that locality joining us. So, in other words, this is one way of scaling up is to look for not every time technical. Look for a way of getting those people to pass your information to them. And that is why we put it as an opportunity that in every camp we are going to operate in, we are not only going to do rice throughout. There must be something that joins us together with the local so that we can pass those information to the local as well.
Okay, next one.
I just wanted something small from Andrew here. Andrew, how do you recruit these people? How do you pay them? Where do you get money? Because I'm a bit interested. I also sometimes look for laborers and I even fail. How does this thing work?
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. How do we recruit them? First, we train people who can be supervisors. If we identify that where is somehow educated, he can be a supervisor. We train you, a number of you, maybe 10 of you. And then we say, now we have trained you. Your task, we give a contract to you. Your task is to come with a minimum of 10 people. 10 people who are behind you, whom you are going to supervise. Because you cannot be a supervisor without people you are going to supervise. So if we train you on chemical management, that means you are a specialist in handling fertilizer, you are a specialist in sampling soil, you are a specialist on handling pesticide, fungicide, name them, herbicide, name them. You know how to work with that thing safely. Then I will tell you that go ahead and come with 10 people. Then you will be entitled to a commission. And this is the commission every week. When it drops below 10, no commission or reduced commission. So that is the target. If it falls without 10, if they are earning maybe 120,000 a week, your commission will fall to maybe 90 or even 80. If it falls below some critical value where we know we cannot cover your cost of a supervisor, we relegate you. That is how it works. Now, the money, where do we get the money? I said, there are so many people with a lot of money, but don't have time. Yes, that is the truth. There are so many. Now, let me tell you this. Let me illustrate it with one client. It's bad to talk about a client, but let me illustrate it with one client. In 2-3 years ago, we have a Rice Millers Council team members here. Government put a policy that if you are importing rice and trading on rice, you will only be allowed for the next 2 years. if you don't establish a farm or show evidence that you are supporting local production of rice, no import permit. Presidential directive were put to these millers. Some of them started saying, okay, what do we do? But they have, some of them, one of them actually is a big businessman here in Uganda. When you go to a supermarket, you will not miss their rice in a supermarket. But I've never seen rice grown in a garden. So when he contracted us, he was watching every step and taking photos, sending to Pakistan, sending to everywhere where rice is grown. Is he doing the right thing? You get it? Are you getting it? And up to now, he's still our biggest client, giving us maybe 20 million a week. So you can see how much money is outside there.
Okay, can we clap for them? Yeah, you are creating job opportunities, and it's very, very important. And also, it's also biblical to treat workers well. So,
I think, thank you very much, Michael and Tim. And also to say that because of the good work that he's doing in terms of harnessing the amount of money that is a lot out there, we're also happy to note that for bullet 4, bullet 3, provision of accommodation for the workers near the work site, and provision of sheds, particularly for the breastfeeding mothers who are also wage workers and caretaker facilities. Somehow also, because that is part of public good, R4ICSA project is proud also to be partnering with Bongomin to also provide that, because that is really, you can also see it's going beyond the call of duty. So our project is also partnering with him on that front. Thank you.
For the good job you are doing on labor issues. I've not seen this in Kenya, so this is also a very good learning experience, and other country can learn from that. Because in Kenya, to get good people with these skills is difficult, and you can waste a lot of your money by giving the wrong people the wrong work. You buy fertilizer, they don't put it properly. So you get raw production, yet you had all your inputs. So it's a very, very good practice. So the next one, we have 2 remaining. So within 10 minutes, I think we'll be through. The rice legume crop rotation. Huh? This one was done. There was harvest and post-harvest. And there's also disease management and control. And high yielding rice. Some of them did not send. So if you did not send, please come with your paper and present. Just talk. Oh, these pests and diseases. Oh. Okay. So it's the one, it's the wrong heading.
We had corrected that thing, but maybe the control point has not yet updated. So, Paul, you are the one. So that one is group 7, and it is on pest. It is on disease and pest management. So that rice legume rotation should be ignored. My name is Cherotin Patrick. I'm presenting on behalf of Group 7. And this one is on pests and diseases. And what we shall see there is not entirely what the organization has done, what the project has done, but what farmers have been doing. During the establishment of the SRPs in the 3 areas, that's in Kwen, Tororo, and Butaleja, the varieties that were established or that were grown there, for sure we were working with the Bongamin group, but they brought for us varieties that we did not observe any pest attacking it. The diseases I did not even observe, but what the farmers closer to our demos were doing, or what the extension workers who were managing the SRPs were sharing with the farmers. Now there we have the pests, we have the potential economic loss, the control management. Under the control management, we also came up with the chemical method, the cultural method, the mechanical method, biological. So those are the control methods or the control ways how farmers are managing the pests. And then that thing written there, what has worked, what farmers are doing, and what did not work, what farmers were not doing, and possibly the opportunities. So that's how we tried as a group to summarize, because we were asking ourselves now, how should we explain that the project did not handle issues on pest management, because under their demos, the pests and diseases were not evidenced. But we said no. But they were training farmers who are coming for other activities in those demos. That is, it was a long argument with the group members, and we said no, we should handle issues that the farmers were doing. And we realized that bats are one of the major challenges that farmers are facing outside there. And if not taken care of, a farmer can lose 60 to 80% or at times 100% of the crop due to bats. So some farmers have attempted to use chemical way of controlling bats, but then this is not so common, but some few farmers. But the most way where how farmers are managing the bats is through scaring. This is through scaring, using noise, mechanically. But biologically, there is no way of controlling, much as we were told that in some places in Teso, some farmers consume bats terribly. But we realized that the biological way was not. So what has worked is scaring by use of scarecrows, and you realize human beings make a lot of noise. And the use of some other varieties, like Wheat-9, is another way that has really enabled some farmers to succeed from the bats. You know, the Wheat-9 variety has a mechanism whereby when it is grain filling, the grain faces down and the leaves face up. So now bats may not recognize very well that the thing is now ready to be eaten. Then secondly, when a bird goes there to go and step on, it becomes a little bit challenging for it to step on the sharp-pointed leaves. So that's one way how our farmers are really challenging the bats. And then what did not work is that as Andrew was explaining about the cropping calendar, whereby if, say for instance, this block, all the farmers go in for transplanting at the same time, such that during harvesting will be at the same time. So they will end up sharing the birds. When I'm making noise from here, you are making noise from there, so we keep sharing birds. But now a situation whereby our farmers currently, when this one is transplanting, this one is scaring the birds, the other one is doing land preparation. So it has not been working very well. And it is an opportunity that we think if we pass on to our farmers through sensitizations, and then we group them in 2 blocks, so that when this block is transplanting, as Andrew had explained, things can go well. So we can move ahead. Yeah, we also talked about the rice stock borer, which was not evident in our varieties that we were doing in the SRPs, but it was nearer in the other farmers' gardens. So our farmers are used to spraying, and they are just used to rocket. They just go to the agro input, they just ask for rocket. We say that the cultural method that the farmers are using is at times timely planting, and then the mechanical deplowing to control the rice borer, and then there are some birds which feed on the stock borers voluntarily. You know, you don't tell them to go and do it, but because they are looking for food, they just go and feed on. So what has worked is that the farmers have been using chemical application, and then the opportunity is we need to involve farmers in growing resistant varieties, which can resist the stock borer. And then the biggest enemy that the group members also talked about is the rats. They are not pests, but they are rodents, but they are under that group. So it is also a very dangerous thing. It can cause between 20 to 60% loss. This one is managed through flooding. This is how far I've been doing. Just open water. You slash around the barns and nearby bushes. And then there are some wild cats and at times snakes which feed on. And this one we have written it accidental, because as the things are doing their things, the cats are also looking for food, and by the end of it all, it helps us in another way. So what has been done? Flooding and clearing bushes around. That one was just misplaced there. And then the opportunities is maybe we can push our farmers to be using water to flood that area when rats are becoming too much. So we can continue. So we can go to diseases. We also didn't observe any disease, but my colleagues from other places were saying yellow rice motor virus was threatening the farmers who were nearer to our SRP's plots. And the rice yellow motor virus is a very dangerous disease. It can cause up to 100% economic crop loss if it is not taken care of. And the only way to manage it is through growing resistant varieties, and of course the rice legume rotation that we are calling it as an opportunity, which can help us do out the rice legume. Yes, we can go ahead. We also, the group members also say the rice blast is another challenge. Much as for us, no, we have the leaf rust. Some of these complications are not so observed in Kwen. Reason is rice farming is a newly introduced enterprise in Kwen, and so most of the areas are still virgin, all that. So we don't have much of these issues. But they have been observed from some other areas like Butaleja and maybe Tororo. So the leaf rust is a disease, can also cause up to 100% crop loss, and is a fungal disease, and farmers have been using fungicides to spray. And then farmers have also been growing tolerant varieties. What has worked is farmers have been spraying and then growing of tolerant varieties. Now the opportunities that we can still explore is having the rice legume rotation. And then the last one is the rice blast. It is also a very dangerous disease, can cause 100% crop loss. Farmers have also been spraying tolerant varieties is one of the ways that have worked, timely planting. And then one issue that has really helped our SRPs to really escape or succeed from these diseases was the soil fertility management. Most of our farmers are not used to fertilizer application. And when we were establishing our SRPs, we started from application of fertilizer when we were transplanting, and then we went in for top dressing, which really made this crop to escape some of these diseases. So that was the end of that presentation. And I think my group members were very attentive. If there are areas that I have not explained, and also the table was so long that most of the words were, most of the writings were not seen. So members, if there is someone who would want to add something, please.
I think that group has got A students. They have done very well, and they're very thorough.
Thank you very much, group, for a good presentation. And I think I would like to commend you in that for purposes of sustainability, it was very good to see how the rice legume integration is working. But for purposes of clarity, one would want to know, possibly, what is this mechanism that is really used to control these, for example, the rice blast and rice rust, using this crop rice legume integration, because this is the kind of knowledge that people really want to have, and possibly you want to try it out and see, does it really work? Thank you very much.
I was also wondering why the demos were not affected by any pest or any disease.
Thank you very much. I think the Queen group, or Queen people who are learning how to do rice, I don't know whether the environment officer is here, but he has also to open the eyes like I did. We used to have this group from Evelyn's place, Tororo. They would cross and come and they attack our birds, those water ducks. They are dollars like them like anything. But one time I held some of them and I threatened with taking them to police. Some of them disappeared within the wetland and we survived. You know, in the environment, once you eliminate one organism, you create population raise in another organism. So you have to know, you have to learn about this. You'll find that a heron will feed on a snake. If a snake will feed on a rat, you know, like that. So you find this one is eating the other as the population of this one grows. And so if you don't allow that balance in nature, it means you're going to have one side being overwhelming, and then you create challenges. Then also I think you have also to consult. Bongomin is good at seasonality. He has been in rice for some time. He has now become rice himself. So seasonality is good when you are controlling birds. He was on certain farm, so when they disagreed and he left, they thought they would do it. But instead, they went and planted the rice because they have seen water. Birds came, they could not manage the birds. When we went there, he asked, what is happening? And they had planted at the wrong time. So also the timing of your planting should be put under consideration, because we are in the environment sector. We shall not allow you to massively kill those birds, because you have the chemical, you have the muscle to kill them. We shall also charge you, because those birds have a right to life.
Okay, thank you. We can have the other group. I don't know the one who doing the training. Are you also training laborers who can shout for the birds to run away?
Okay. Not to shout, but to use skills. We have specialized bird scarers, but one of the doctors advise always that you prevent diseases or prevent attacks. When you cannot prevent, they will treat, but God will be the one to heal. That is what doctors say. So also in rice productions, when you can prevent, you prevent it. The season, these birds are migratory birds. They come when they want to have plenty of food in order to breed. That's specific man for specific locations. So you avoid planting in a way that the crop will come to flowering and milking stage at those stages, at those months, in those locations, especially in Bulambuli. This stretch, Bulambuli up to Kwen. So they're there. They're well-known months, that's one way. But I want to put opportunity as far as bird scaring is concerned. This is a scaling up opportunity for me to say it. In Denmark, in Brazil, they have developed a model called predator-prey relationship for wheat. And that can also work in what? In rice. At Bongmin Group, we always host intern from Denmark. When they came, the last time they came was before COVID. When they came, they said, you need to reduce the man-days in bird scaring. And this is how you can reduce it. They have developed an eagle. You know, an eagle. When it flies over, all chickens, all birds take cover. But you can remotely control it. Eagle is a predator, and the birds are the prey. And they developed in different colors that make different sound, so that you don't get used to the same sound and the same color.
Or a drone? A drone.
This is
a drone kind of thing.
You can control.
Oh, remote control.
Oh, okay.
It's a remote control.
Remote controlled eco. That's good.
Okay, let me. In addition to that,
the
there is
final
yet another alternative technology. Using an empty bottle, you put stones inside, and you connect them in a rice field on poles. When you shake, the sound is amplified. It is as if another person is there, another person is there, another person is there, whereas it's just empty bottles. So when you shake, it scares. It's just alternative. I've seen it work in one of the Chinese introduced it in Masaka, along the road, that irrigation. I think most of you have traveled that side. I've seen. No, one person, in other words, you reduce the number of scarers. And you optimize you reduce the cost, you optimize your operations. It's yet another, I will send you a small write-up on that.
Yeah, so I think we need to document all these methods for sharing with farmers, because it's very expensive to employ the scarers on a daily basis. So I think the last one is on post-harvest, harvest and post-harvest. 30 seconds. 30 seconds before the post-harvest person comes.
Thank you very much. In this meeting, we have participants across, but there is a learning experience I observed when I crossed to Kenya, which is a big challenge on that very topic that was presented. Here it is the reverse. We are today with the environmentalists, but then we are on the birds, which is a nuisance. When I crossed there, I hardly saw birds. But as a notorious pest to the rice, I was keenly watching, and the people who are maybe guarding. So for us here, that pest, the bird, is the cause of even school dropouts. The people who are employed to scare the birds in the rice belts are school-going children. You'll never find a married man with about 2 children going to scare what? The bird. So today we are the Kenyan counterparts, not some of these things, and maybe tomorrow we react. How would you manage this? So that we also what? Use some of these technologies. Then, on the environmentalists, we have heard that the birds can even take about 60 to 80% of the rice. We are sharing with you. I don't know which one will be which. The rice or the birds? Okay, thank you.
I want to comment about the disease incident. In our experimental field trial, Ngenge had very less disease incident. It was almost not there. And we went there with all the experts from Naro, including the chief breeder, Dr. Jimmy Lamo, and the agronomists. They realized that maybe it's the contribution of the temperatures, because temperatures there is very high, and that's number one. Number two, there are been no continuous rice productions there for a long time, compared to Tororo, compared to Butaleja, because there were some disease incidences in Butaleja and Tororo, but later on went off. It was below the threshold that required intervention, and we never applied any other ingredient to stop those spread.
Okay, that's okay. Then there was something you want to say? A question that was asked.
Actually, he answered, but bit of it, because the person asked about, it was rice rust, and no, I'm not answering the legume, I'm answering about the issue of the rust and the blast. So that one, we as the company manufacturing bioagriculture inputs, we normally look at what is the cause of this. And we realized, which is true, it is microorganisms. What he was actually saying, Ngenge didn't have the cases why they have not been farming. So these areas where they've been applying these chemicals, the synthetics, the fertilizers, the urea, which come also with the cost, which affects these microbes in the soil. So the microbes that are left, maybe before I go to that, we should all understand that our soil contains microbes of 3 kinds. There are microbes which are beneficial, and they are only 10% out of 100. 10. It is 10. You can get the updated research. And then 80% of these microbes are opportunists. They are just there. Then the 10% are the bad ones, the so-called dangerous what? microbes. So this 80% normally go where the population is high. If the population is high where the beneficial microbes are, the other ones will definitely shift and build up. But looking at our farming methods, we normally destroy this beneficial. And we are left with some of these dangerous microbes. So the 80% shifts the other side. Then there we start getting cases of rust. We start getting cases of wilt and so many other things. You can name those fungal causing and viruses. And this controlling becomes very hard. But for us, we introduce the microbes, the beneficial microbes. That's why we're talking there about the biostimulants, the what. These microbes go and colonize the root zones of these plants. They benefit from the plant as the plant also what? Benefits from them. In so doing, we don't intend to destroy any microbe in the soil because they also have a purpose. So they just outcompete the others. So once we just scale up this beneficial, automatically we are going to control those misters that cause rust and blast. I think that's what I wanted to add.
So, thank you for teaching us some good microbiology. We have forgotten some of it. So, where are the people post-harvest and harvest? Okay, be ready.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to add on while answering this gentleman's question about how does the legume rotation control diseases in the rice fields. Actually, when we plant a legume in between rice production, we reduce on the diseases by breaking the life cycle of the causal agents of the rice blast or whatever. Because they feed on the rice, but they may not feed on the legume. So when you plant the legume, they lack what to eat. They are either reduced or controlled completely. That's why when after harvesting the legume and you plant the rice, disease incidences are reduced because of that reason. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution. Let's have the last group. Oh, second last. Okay. Adoption of high-yielding rice varieties. 25 minutes are over, so what do we do? Yeah? Okay. Rebecca Nabifo, where are you?
Yeah.
She's looking for you. Come. So, do we add 15 minutes, then we finalize this? Yeah?
10, maybe 10.
I think the discussions are too heated because it's very interesting. If it is boring, people would have gone. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Continue.
We take over? Sorry, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think for our group, I'll take the shortest time possible because we are not going to repeat ourselves. Most of the issues have been said. And a new voice is now coming in with a different accent. So to my Ugandan counterparts, I say sorry. It's now Kenya on the floor. The stage has been dominated much by the Ugandans. Now, there are two key things before I start the group presentation, which is going to be very key for us. One, I will speak for our group, and then two, there is a new breed here. There's a group of journalists here who probably want to capture the key recommendations from here and see what they are going to communicate to the rest of the public and the rest of the world, probably those who are not present here. So quickly before that thing is reloading, I will want to pronounce myself on what Mugambi said here in the morning. And this one is for the journalists to take home. It is by summary, and it is what is taking place, and it is exactly what we are going to witness tomorrow when we go to the fields. It is about the circular economy. Well, it is very important for us to note from this workshop that the world is moving and things are changing, including our African economy is moving from a linear economy to a circular economy. And when I look at what is happening from this workshop, the summary, as Mugambi was trying to put it across in the morning, is about circular economy and how African government, especially for us, now, it may sound irritating that how do you use maggots to make organic fertilizer? That thing is stomach churning, isn't it? But it makes ecological sense. Today, look at what I have here. This is a plastic. This plastic, I've already consumed the water. So do you think that this plastic has no use? Yobe just told us there what we can use this plastic to do to scare the birds, isn't it? When we just put stones and then we assume that we reduce the cost of human beings or people who are going to use it to scare birds, isn't it? Now look at this plastic. It is recycled after use to make pellets, which are again used for making the plastic products. So today, when we talk about the circular economy, we are talking about the world actually even pressurizing manufacturers to come up with products which are able to be recycled so that they can be reused again and again. So that waste which we are producing has become the new raw material. The waste has become the new raw material. The last example I want to give to drive home this concept of circular economy is an incident we had in Germany. And that urine goes all the way, it is treated again, and it is brought to you as water. So when we were in the workshop, and we were being trained there, we were told that, do you know where that water you are drinking has come from? And you say, no, it is the urine. It is your urine. So that urine again is medicinal. So you can see where the world or where things are trending in terms of circular economy. And we are going to move here. You have seen rice husk, the byproducts from rice husk. Mugambi was talking about the rice straws and the rice husk, which is also be able to use you make hay production from the rice husk. So we must think, and I am glad that we are policy makers here, that we must think of how we are going to compel the policy makers that we move from a linear economy to a circular economy so that we create more wealth and jobs and businesses for our people. So that we are more of Bongomins, like Bongomin was talking here about successful project that he has implemented in Uganda. Why don't we create more bongamins and silicon savannas for our people so that they can see what is actually practical or action-oriented? Right or wrong? Right. Can you clap for it if it's right? And that is why we are saying from Uganda here and from this workshop we are developing the concept of 3 RRs is possible. 3 RRs is possible. We can action. So let us start action. And with those few remarks now, I think I can now go direct into the group presentation. Now, oh, use the laptop. Oh, it's there. Opio, you'll have to come and deal with it as I speak. I just scroll down. Now, our group, we are looking at the adoption of high-yielding rice varieties. No, which one? And, where's number? No, which one? No, which one? Now we look at, commonly, yes. We look at the new rice variety, what has worked and what has not. Now, to quickly bring you on board, we looked at Uganda, and we look at the commonly grown rice varieties, and where are they grown. So the issue about soil and soil mapping came on board, and we categorize them. We look at the wheat, which is commonly grown and has succeeded because of high tillering, high yield, easily able to be managed. And then we came up also with the super, which has got good aromatic and good grain quality. That aroma is able to attract many people, and so farmers are finding it a suitable crop to grow because of the high commercial return and also because of the high consumption and the demand in the market. So then we looked at the commonly grown rice in upland varieties like Namche 5, which has got also good grain appearance. It has some mild aroma, but it's also grown under rain-fed condition, which is actually more suitable, farmers find more suitable for it to grow. Then we have Nerica 4 rice, which is also has got a lot of ease in production because of its high-yielding variety. Then what has worked and why? You find that many farmers want to go for maximum productivity, so they want to optimize their production, and therefore they are exploring, going for early maturing and good grain quality, and those ones which have got good aroma, and the premium price and meal recovery is also good. So to that extent, they are trying to try a new hand in the new seed varieties, which is being promoted, like the PR107, MET 12, which also has good aroma, MET 20, and ARU 1180. What has worked and not worked? We have looked at the general performance of the entire agriculture, supply, and value chain. And what came forward for us as a group, and we thought was most important, was the poor agronomic practices, which has not worked. We still feel that there is poor extension system, that people who are skilled are not reaching to the farmers, especially in the rural areas, the interior areas, so that they are equipped with the requisite knowledge and skills which is imperative for them to be able to bolster the agricultural production, especially in regards to rice farming. Then was limited availability of the quality seed. We talk about promotion of new seed and fast maturing seed variety, but then again we realize there's low incentive of the seed companies to invest in seed production for inbred rice varieties. And this is making it difficult, especially for the smallholder farmers who are keen on tapping technology to be able to bolster their rice production. So that is an area we thought has not worked well. Then there is the issue about poor marketing. And in the poor marketing, we looked at the entire gamut of what is called the marketing mix. That is price, promotion, and the product itself, including the placement in the market. And we said that there is limited awareness, even through the media, about these new yielding varieties. And so we have very few farmers who are exploring the new opportunities. They are still stuck in the old and the traditional rice varieties that they are used to. So we thought that there is a need to upscale marketing, especially even if it is going to happen through the media, and even in terms of product and product branding, so that even if we came up with Bukedi rice, or we talk about Mbale rice, then that Mbale rice can be marketed. Another thing which is important there is about increasing information and knowledge sharing management. I am saying this because Kenyans are present here. Just the other day we were in the country, we were in Kenya, and we were also looking at Kenya facing the same problem. So if we can bring Kenyan and Ugandan farmers like we are here, we have borrowed a lot of what is happening and cross-cutting experiences, then we can share that knowledge to allow our farmers leverage on economies and of scale and production. So that is important. Then opportunities for scaling up. As I finish, I said I will not take much of your time. Opportunities for scaling up. We underscored the importance of using modern milling machines. Some of the factories, rice milling factories, still operate on outdated milling machines, which is making the cost of operation and the cost of production to be very exorbitant for the farmers. So we said, or we thought, that there is need for companies to invest or increase investment in modern rice milling machines to optimize productivity and also to increase the rate at which farmers are able to produce and realize maximum profit returns. Then the other one is sensitization of farmers on the new high-yielding varieties. Those varieties I've mentioned there. Needless to repeat that there is need to let farmers be more aware about these high-yielding varieties and how they can be cost-effective if they explore growing them in bulk. Then the issue of sensitization of farmers on climate change adaptation by building more climate resilience program. Now, this is the current concern. Everybody now worldwide is concerned about issues of climate-smart agriculture. Climate-smart agriculture is now the new kid on the block, and everybody else is talking about it. Why? Because if farmers are not aware of when to plant and when to harvest and how they can adapt to the new climate change effect, then the knock-on effect is going to be very big. Because their production will be seriously affected. And this again brings us to the concept of this thing called the 3RI, the 3RR. How are we able to teach farmers that they are able to use their crops well in a manner that will ensure restorative or regeneration after they grow the crop? So the issue about climate change, including we have had like what is called the backflow from Lake Victoria. And the backflow from Lake Victoria has been affecting both rice farmers in Kenya and Uganda, because you understand the drop that both Kenya, Uganda, and even Tanzania, we share Lake Victoria. So when there is a backflow of water, and when the level of water is receding, there is a very big effect. And that is as a result of climate change. So we need to deal with those issues of climate change so that we can become climate resilient. Tied to that is again the issue about pollution, environment pollution. When you talk about the effect of water, there is also the issue about environmental pollution. And tied to that again is the issue about irrigated farming. We talked about irrigation infrastructure. We find irrigation infrastructure to be capital intensive. How do we make farmers to have it easy to venture into irrigation farming? Through sharing of more evidence-based innovations, and through sharing more evidence-based innovations, like Bongo Means, I will still refer to the Bongo Mean group, we can have successful groups that have ventured into something and done something effectively by taking farmers there so that they can benchmark and leverage on the economies of scale and production. I would not be surprised if we took farmers from Uganda and then take them to a tour of Mwea Rice Irrigation Scheme or Aero or even Bunyala Rice Irrigation Scheme so that they can share cross-cutting knowledges, experiences, and the challenges there too that comes with the production of rice so that they can build on their knowledge and resilience. So that we need to increase more sharing of evidence-based innovation, including taking journalists to be able to serialize for us and market for us this kind of different knowledges which are used to improve rice production. Another one is to create sustainable agribusiness linkages. Of course, creating sustainable agribusiness linkages, there is need to create that market. Okay, you have told the farmers that the new maturing variety is PR 107. So does it have a market? Why would you create for it a market niche? Is it going to be grown for local consumption, or you also want to think of exploring growing it for export production? So we need to explore all those concepts so that we tie the loose ends. The last one is about increased investment in rice production and processing infrastructure, both government and the private sector. This again behooves the researchers here and the scientists, including the policymakers present here, to begin to pressurize the government to increase vote, especially that goes towards rice production. The other time we were talking about the comprehensive Africa Agriculture Action Development Program, CADP. Now CADP in Maputo, some 10 years back, the African governments of state allocated 10%, and they tasked that each and every country should spare at least 10% of their annual budgets to go towards agricultural production. Rice is one of the components or products that is produced through that process. So there is need to push for more allocation so that we have more and enough money meant for improving rice production. With those few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, may I say thank you very much, and may the good Lord bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that very comprehensive presentation, and also reminding us on the circular economy. Yeah, excellent. The last person? Post-harvest? Yes. Or maybe you can raise it after this, because of time.
Yes, thank you very much. I know time is not our friend. I'll try and be as brief as possible. But I would like to say this. I think we saved the best for last. Group 5, they had it very well. As we await Paul to project, our issue was very simple. We're talking about harvest, post-harvest handling, and processing. We thought we should keep it to the context of the project. So I'm not going to bother you with a lot of literature that does not relate to harvest, post-harvest handling, and processing. First and foremost, as Paul comes around, we took it from the point of harvesting. There are so many agronomic practices out there, but one of them is before you harvest, you have to reduce the amount of water which is in the garden. This is a known practice for the rice growers who are in the house. We're also aware that having too much water in the gardens is what contributes to the emission of methane, as Anthony put it. And we are very keen on making sure that we have appropriate levels of water that are in the gardens. So that is something that we can take as a positive from this project. At harvest, of course, we have the bulk of the straw, which we all know, because this has been cross-cutting across all the presentations, that this rice straw can be put back into the garden. I thank the team for coming up with the innovative ways of decomposing this straw, so that the nutrients which are in the straw, potassium particularly, can be released faster for crop utilization. In a way, this has been able, I'm going to combine the why and why it has worked. The cost of fertilizer, urea is very expensive. The last time I checked, a bag of 50 kilograms was going for about 260,000 shillings. This is a lot of money when you compare the fact that most of the people who are growing rice are the small holders. So when we have such interventions, the people have interpreted it very well and have put it to very good use. And I think this is the plus. Regarding recycling, of course, you know, when you process rice, the byproduct, the biggest percentage or the biggest volume is the rice husk. This rice husk has been put to several uses. First of all, At Upland Rice Millers, one of the group members in Group 5 is from Upland. They're using this husk to actually dry the rice. Since this project is about what we can do through recycling, I think this is a plus. And also, in other places, the rice husk has been carbonated, as you've heard from the other presenters, to produce the biochar, which has been used for the development of nurseries. Also, the husk, it has been compressed together to give us what we all know as the pellets, and these are very good for fuel. Okay? And also, we can go the extra mile and then do the briquette. Now, this is what are the remains of combusting. Squeeze them together, and then we have the briquette. Please be fast about, okay? Our team has received training as regarding the moisture content at which the rice can be processed. The ideal or the recommended one is 13. So, as a result of the objectives of the project, we are no longer milling rice which is not at good moisture levels. This in a way affects the quality of the byproduct, which largely is the rice husk. And also the rice bran, which is as a result of polishing, which has also been used for the nutrition when it comes to feeding of animals. What has failed? Of course, we have so many things which are plus. Okay? What has failed is to commercialize some of these concepts. They are good. They have been tried locally using our own methods, but to commercialize them to the level of taking our product, for example, the rice husk and the briquette, to different places in the market, I think a lot needs to be done in this regard because it is very capital intensive in nature. It's not something that you're going to wake up and then you have it going, like one of the presenters was saying. Okay? We also feel like the attitude, you know, where I come from, Butaleja, we have been doing rice for over 30 years. So most of the people have a mindset, a culture which is embedded in their thinking that things must be done in a particular way. So when you start to tell them of the good practices, when you start to tell them about SRPs, for example, they will challenge you and tell you, when you put a lot of water in the garden, then you're going to contain the weeds. Yeah? That is a wrong thinking, as we all know. But it's very difficult because most of the farmers still insist on having their fields flooded, which is very bad for our environment. What are the opportunities which are available? You have said it best. Fuel, smart energy, if I can put it that way. The substitute or the alternative for charcoal, which you all know is very responsible for the cutting down of trees. If we have fuel out there and it is in the form of briquette, maybe we are going to save that tree to see another day. Of course, there's more money when it comes to the byproducts if you have used them very well. If you have the husk and you put it, you come up with the briquette or the pellet, it means you're going to get additional income. If you have the biochar, then you have an opportunity to sell that to farmers who are willing to take it up. Okay? If you have the rice bran, then you're very sure that animals are going to be fed, they're going to have fat, and they're going to have milk. So for the people who are in those categories of business, agribusinesses, this is something which they can take up. We have opportunities for fabricators. If the technology is very expensive, maybe the imported one, can we have local solutions? And we think it is possible. It has been done by some fabricators in the country, like Munyagera, and others out there who can also come out and help with the same. So those are opportunities that still exist. Maybe Kilimo needs to involve other people who are bent towards the side of fabricating. We have seed companies. You might wonder, how is seed related to post-harvest handling, or how is it related to harvesting? One person said that we have a new variety of rice seed, which is the PR107. The point I take out of that is that it is an early maturing variety. The thinking here is that if we have an early maturing variety out there, then we can reduce on the amount of water which is required by the plant. Because if 1 month is a lot of time for a crop when it is on the garden. So if we have a seed which can take 3 months compared to the traditional 4 months or 5 months, then we have a solution when it comes to saving our environment. Yes, adoptable machinery. One of our members has experience from Tanzania, and he says that the rice reapers have worked very well there. And the manner in which they operate is that they break down the straw, and the straw is put back in the garden when it is fine. So we feel that it is also an opportunity for people maybe who are importing these small machineries. I don't need to remind you that where I come from, we are always very keen on technology. Bongomin Group was talking about the hydropower tiller, the first of its kind. When it came up, we had the confidence to put money in it and then have it go to the field. We believe that if there are people who are keen on developing machinery, which is not the big combine harvester, because we have problems of land fragmentation, you might have the combine, but where is it going to work? If it is in Botaleja, most of the land is fragmented. So adoptable machinery, yeah, people who are keen on that can go up and also make some money. So overall, we think that the project has been a success. The focus on the areas of post-harvest handling and processing, that was money which was well spent. If this project was a pilot, personally, I can't imagine what the final product is going to be like. We feel it is relevant, it should happen, it should come to pass. Since I'm the last presenting, I would also thank the team for Kilimo Trust, whom are very close now as family. I can mention easily Anthony, Gabriel, Jambo, and others, Paul. What you're doing is very right. We, the people who are involved in the value chain, we believe that you have a place. And keep doing it, keep soaring it. My name is Nasoma Baker. I'm the chairperson, Manafa Basin Rice Farmers Cooperative. We have a brand of rice, which is aromatic. Someone mentioned it, and it really hit me, which we have branded, which is good and has been appreciated by most of the restaurants. I'm sure when you take a tour to Butaleja tomorrow, we might be lucky to pass by and have a look at what the brand looks like. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Thank you for that presentation. Maybe on this topic, we would also have expected you to say something about how post-harvest losses have been prevented, how the quality of the processed rice is ensured, but those are things we can discuss later because of time. Because there is also tea still waiting for us before we go. But I think we have learned a lot. We are about to suffer from mental constipation. So before we do that, I think we will have the last comments from Lawrence Owere. Then we go. Lawrence Owere was to do some closing remarks. Or before Owere, maybe Mugambi, then we invite you.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Let's clap for Michael. He has done a good job. Yes, thanks so much. So the program is back to the organizing team now, and I want to ask Anthony if he has any announcements before. But before the announcements, Anthony, you want to say something? Okay.
Thank you very much. We are really pressed for time. Just to thank you very much for your time, for your attention, and that we are hoping that tomorrow will be another fruitful day. Other than, of course, now that the time was, tea is waiting for us. There is also some money that was waiting for us, meaning that we had one of our financial partners with us here who would have wanted to talk to us, but I think this is not the right time because now we are a bit tired. we would want to grant them some time tomorrow morning before we proceed with our wrap-up to talk to us about the opportunities that he has identified during our discussions today and how he intends to partner with us, not just here, but even across the region. That's what I would want to say. But other than that, thank you a lot from on behalf of the project team. Asanteni.
Thanks, Anthony. Now, at this juncture, I want to welcome Dr. Lawrence to give us his closing remarks. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. Once again, let me thank Kilimo for choosing to work in our area and to work with us. We appreciate. I thank IKEA. You send our regards to Janssen. Yes, funding you, but you're funding us, so through you, we are getting the funding and we are working for our people. My friends from Naro, I think somebody from Kawanda, Namlonge, from Makerere, thank you so much for joining us. All the other value chain actors, you are here, and I'm happy to meet all of you. I've been meeting some of these people individually. Today we are together. I'm happy for this. I know we are late, but let me say one or two things. You see, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, somebody was talking about Tanzania bringing here. We are all having deficits between production and consumption. So we are all still having a lot of work to do. So productivity and climate smart is the solution. Let's not point fingers. You're allowing Tanzanian rice here. It is still, when Tanzania is not meeting production, I mean the production they require versus consumption. Uganda, Kenya is even the worst. Yes, these figures are there. So we still have a very huge gap. And when we come here, I think we should, as all these projects, we are trying to close that gap because we are losing a lot of money to rich people. The economy of Uganda and Pakistan, we are poor compared to them. Then we are not donating to them the little money which we have, yet we could do something and produce rice and even export. The potential is there. That's why these projects, yes, they give us opportunity to work hard and try to close that gap. I thank Kilimo again because you look at our national rice strategy and projects like this are helping us to achieve the objectives of our national strategies. Like for not only this is rice, then there are others. If people get some money, if people get some more rice, that means a lot to us. And one thing I thank Chairperson there, yes, I know the smallholder farmers produce about 90%, but of course these are not the poorest of the poor, but we are also looking, we know in rice the more you invest, the more profits you get. Some of us also do a little bit of small-scale farming, but I'm not very poor. What I also do, you may find me with half an acre of rice, some 5 acres of maize, because I may not have time to fully supervise. However, the more you invest, and this I normally tell farmers in rice swamps, wherever I go, please, if you don't invest, you will get less. You think you are saving, but you get less. For instance, in Uganda, you have farmers who get as good as 5 tons per hectare. But you also have those who get less than 1 ton. We have them. But the other one, the advantage, the one who gets more has invested slightly, a little more. The other one who refuses, if you look at that loss, his refusal to apply some fertilizer does not cover for the loss he makes at the end of the day. So colleagues, we can talk a lot about rice. For us, our research work, we also do some little work in rice, but What I appreciate most, we work with the partners so that we involve all the people at the different segments of the rice value chain. And I'm happy some of those we started working with earlier are somewhere. And projects like this improve them even to do better. And I urge you, they say this is the beginning. And you know, what happens if the beginning is good, we might go beyond the beginning. So I urge all of us to work hard so that when we are doing the assessment, we are somewhere and it is appreciated. We are all a bit tired. I think let that be enough. Tomorrow or another day we shall have more opportunity to talk. Let me stop here and say thank you once again. You know when people clap when you're talking.
Don't say anything. Whoa. Thank you very much, Dr. Lawrence. We want to close. Paul, if there are announcements, but tomorrow take note that we'll be going out to the field. So for those who, please come prepared with the right attire for going to the irrigation schemes. Somehow, so be prepared that we're going out. Then, yes, so Paul, if there are announcements, then someone can close with a word of prayer.
Good evening. Once again, I would love to thank each and every one of us for making it to this point in time. Thank you for your deliberations. Just something that I wished, message I wish to pass on is that for those of us that are residing, that is outside Mbale Resort, there is transport that is meant to take us to the different hotels. So you just get to, when we are leaving, you just get to the parking yard and that transport will take you to your respective hotels. And that is even in the morning by about 7:30, 7:45, you'll still get those vehicles at the parking yard to bring you here. And then about logistical, about the logistics, something is going to be coming through our phones. Thank you. Yes. Okay, fine. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful moment of time. Thank you for the discussions that we've had. We thank you that they are fruitful. And Lord, they take us to the next level of implementing this project. We even thank you for the tea that we're going to partake of, that it is blessed and it nourishes our bodies. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Production practices. Funding from R4ICSA Foundation of the Netherlands. The objectively viable CSA
are sustainable. Their systems by the various rice value chain actors.
Although rice is considered a high-value crop, it is one of the contributors to the effects of climate change because its fields emit greenhouse gases, methane and carbon dioxide arising from anaerobic respiration. Because production is bound to increase, climate-smart and regenerative agriculture practices are being introduced in the rice value chain by the project, such as recycling rice husks into biochar, mainly used as fuel, and organic fertilizer, or as carbon sink to reduce such effects.
Of course, rice contributes to climate change in a big way, particularly with the increased adoption of rice production. there is a lot of production of greenhouse gases like methane from the rice fields. And one of the ways to promote and also to ensure that we have climate smart production is ensuring that we reduce some of these greenhouse gases, such as methane, carbon dioxide, for instance. For instance, you've seen when we've been moving out to the field, you've seen a lot of some of our partners now using or reusing the rice husks to produce biochar.
Private sector players that embraced the production of biochar since 2019 include Bongmin Group Limited, headed by Mr. Andrew Ebong.
The word biochar means charcoal. Charcoal from waste. Just char is charcoal. So in this case, biochar of rice husk is charcoal made from rice husk. Biochar has a lot of benefits. Number one, biochar, as I said, is a water retainer. It holds water for a longer time. Number two, biochar enhances microbial activities. The microbial activities, in the long run, enhances the soil structure. It improves the soil structure, soil aerations, and so on. Biochar is a buffer, soil pH buffer. When it is, it is towards neutral. When the pH is acidic, put it bring it towards what? Toward alkaline. So it's a pH buffer. Number four is that biochar is a carbon sink. It's a carbon sink. What that means is that if you plant it with a coffee tree, it enhances the coffee tree to remove carbon from the atmosphere as much as possible and fix it into the soil.
The group has so far supplied 6 tons of biochar to New Cafe, a coffee farmers organization, and are still supplying to date. The organization uses biochar to raise coffee seedlings that are given to their members. To promote enriched biochar, the team has set up demonstration gardens near their production plant so as to monitor performance of the product as well as build confidence among potential clients.
Some of our clients may require enriched biochar, but to develop the market, people want to see, then they begin to believe. And we want to champion the seeing how the enriched biochar will work. And that's why we chose it, that we first use it ourselves as a demonstration for other clients who have been taking biochar as it is, that actually the enriched biochar is much better than the one which is not plain, which is not enriched.
So you take one unit of well-decomposed farmyard manure plus 1 unit of biochar plus 1 unit of soil. Then you ensure that you mix them thoroughly. As you can see, when it is thoroughly mixed, you can utilize it in your garden.
Biochar, whether enriched or not, is an important soil enhancement that promotes crop growth, as explained by Dr. Lawrence Owere, the Director, Buginyanya Zonal Agricultural Research and Development Institute.
So for biochar, we have tried it not only in rice, but even with maize.